Hey, why are conservatives known as rednecks? Because they don't use sunscreen, because the bottle says apply liberally. Welcome to part 2 of Republicans Say The Darnedest Things featuring Leland Gregory, where credit absolutely has to be given. And if you haven't seen part 1 of this series, I'm gonna link it right here in this card. Check it out. Y'all know since the inception of the Republican Party, and mostly after the fundamental views changed between the Republicans and the Democrats in the 1930s, Republicans have said and done some questionable things. Things that make me wonder how the hell are people still voting for these candidates? Or better yet, how they're watching these professionals on Fox News or Newsmax, whatever it's called, spew this literal nonsense. And these idiots are just eating this shit up like Pringles. Once you pop, you can't stop. Do they even use that slogan anymore? My elder millennial is showing. Our first story is about combat pilot Lieutenant Colonel Victor Fenbach, a veteran that served in Iraq, Afghanistan, and Kosovo, and was awarded 9 air medals, including for heroism during the 2003 invasion of Iraq. But according to an article in the Dayton Daily News, Fenbach was going to be discharged from the Air Force because he was gay. A quick sidebar. A couple of days ago, my father-in-law pulled me aside and showed me his 1977 Basic Training Military Handbook. And in that handbook, he showed me a segment where it stated that the military will be discharging anyone that is gay through a open door policy. Then they later changed it to don't ask, don't tell. The military spent $25 million training this man. He was from military officer parents, was born on the Ohio Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, served the country for 18 years proudly, decorated with 30 awards and tours flying F-15s. He was even one of the pilots patrolling New York City and the surrounding areas on 9/11. The military is so afraid of gay people and what they do outside of their job that they have to ruin their lives. Luckily, on December 22nd, 2010, President Barack Obama repealed the Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy. And in January 2011, Fenbach was granted his request to end his 20-year career with the military and received all of his benefits. You know, I think Republican radio talk show hosts are gonna make a lot of appearances here on The Ghost Effect. On September 9th, 2005, conservative radio talk show host Glenn Beck said this atrocity. When I see a 9/11 victim family or whatever, I'm just like, oh, shut up. I'm just so sick of them because they're always complaining. One of the saddest days in American history where all Americans stood still, stood in silence, mourning the innocent lives that were lost that day. And Glenn Beck is sick of their complaining? Hey Glenifer, didn't you just settle a multi-million-dollar defamation lawsuit where you said this man was involved with the Boston Marathon bombing? But Glenn Beck, you and everything you can stand for. Bill Maher is the crazy character on the left, you know, the Limbaugh of the liberals. With his old show Politically Incorrect, he invited eventual Delaware Republican Senate candidate Christine O'Donnell to the show, where she said this: "You know what? Evolution is a myth. Why aren't monkeys still evolving into humans?" Well, that's because you don't know how evolution works, sweetie. And that is not how. And let me not skip over the fact that you said evolution is a myth. Cupcake, evolution is an absolute fact. Change over time is a fact. Sorry that you don't believe that. Well, let me stop playing. It's a scientific theory. It's irreparable. And I know you conservatives and Republicans are confused, so let me break down what a scientific theory means. A well-tested, broad explanation of a natural phenomenon. In everyday life, we often use the word theory to mean a hypothesis or educated guess. But a theory in the context of science is not simply a guess. It is an explanation based on extensive and repeated experimentation. The crazy thing is, this is very normal in the conservative community. It's mostly the evangelical Christian Republicans that say this shit. But Glenifer said something similar to Christine O'Donnell. I don't think we came from monkeys. I think that's ridiculous. I haven't seen a half monkey, half person yet. Well, that's because none of us came from monkeys, Glenn. Australopithecus afarensis is where we started. And now we're here, Homo sapiens. And remember, this is over millions and millions of years of change. This isn't an overnight thing. I keep saying this. This is why we need a better educational system here in the United States. Dude, the shit that I just told you, I learned that back in 5th grade in Germany. In 5th grade. See, usually Republicans make laws that benefit them. But this time, it took another route. In late April 2008, Mike Cruzy of Austin, Texas was arrested and charged with a DUI, which under the newly enacted, quote, driver responsibility program, if convicted, Cruzy could have to face 180 days of jail time and a $4,000 fine, including $1,000 in extra fines for being a first-time drunk driver. But you know what's really funny about this thing? That law was written by Mike Cruzy himself. He's the chairman of the Texas House Transportation Committee and a member of the Texas House Judiciary Committee. Hey, looks like Mike should have followed his own advice. Man, I can't deny it. I cannot deny it. I can't lie to you guys. I love this man's movies. I really do. But god it, Arnold made the list. He made the list. Why did you have to say this on March 3rd, 2006 while you were governor of California? She's either Puerto Rican or the same thing as Cuban. They're all very hot. They have, you know, part of the black blood in them and part of the Latina blood in them. That together makes it. God, I am so pissed, Arnie. Why did you have to say that? The reason why I'm mad is because when he said this, he was referencing California's only Latina Republican Assemblywoman, Bonnie Garcia. Republicans always take it to that level, don't they? Now, after years of not having Bush as president, I can look back and laugh at his idiotic remarks and shrug them off as comedy. But when you really think about it, we can't. Here's a conversation George W. Bush had in March of 2005 with economic advisor Dr. Jeffrey Brown, PhD. Now, I've asked Jeff to join us today, PhD. Yes, I'm a C student. He's the PhD. He's the advisor. I'm the president. What does that tell you? It tells you there's hope for all you C students out there. Yes, I'm a PhD in economics, and I'm a professor at one of the other great Midwestern universities. PhD in economics. It's an interesting lesson, isn't it? He's the advisor and the PhD. I'm the president and a fair student. I like to remind people, he's a PhD and I was a C student. I want you to take note of who's president and who's the advisor. You know, it didn't make sense then, but it absolutely makes sense now that Donald Jessica Trump was voted in as president of the United States. You don't even have to be a C student anymore to be president of the US. Your daddy can just pay for your grades to be passable. And as always, we end our segment with our very own racist Rush. Rush, hit him with it.
Nobody was translating. But that's the close I can get.
Yeah, that's Rush Limbaugh in 2011, mocking then Chinese President Hu Jintao. Thank you for that racist performance. What did y'all think of these? Comment below, let me know. I read all of my comments, and if you want to comment some suggestions, please do. I am open to all suggestions. Support the channel on Patreon and join my private community on Discord. Get early access to all my videos, private podcasts, lives, and much more. Don't forget to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything. And check out some more Republicans Say the Darndest Things right here.